This is Frontline on Air. Major stories on the go.
Cannabis, a cultural gift. Despite its religious and medicinal significance, cannabis continues to be vilified in India. High time we reclaim the herb for what it truly is. Karan Madhok.
Voice by Rakesh Sharma, Timber Media.
This year marked the 50th anniversary of the Hindi film Aapki Kasam, J. Om Prakash's directorial debut starring Rajesh Khanna, Mumtaz and Sanjeev Kumar in an unconventional romantic drama. The film was a major success, aided no doubt by its memorable soundtrack, which featured songs by the iconic composer R.D. Burman and lyrics by the legendary Anand Bakshi. Aapki Kasam's biggest hit and one of the most popular songs of its time was Jai Jai Shiv Shankar, an upbeat, frolicsome romantic track sung by Kishore Kumar and Lata Mangeshkar, which blended romantic love and spiritual devotion in a mesmerizing mix. About halfway through the film, Kamal, played by Rajesh Khanna, and Sunita, played by Mumtaz, visit a temple, where Kamal prays for the birth of a baby girl. As they exit, a man wearing a saffron robe and a japmala, prayer beads, greets them with Jai Jai Shiv Shankar. With a cackle, he informs the couple that it is Shivratri, the festival dedicated to Lord Shiva, and offers them each a cup of a drink that he only calls Shivji Ka Prasad, an offering to be drunk in Lord Shiva's name. Kamal and Sunita down their cups, and as they leave the temple, they find themselves laughing and cackling like the man with the japmala. But nothing is funny. The couple are clearly intoxicated by the prasad. A troupe of background dancers runs across the hillside, and soon Kamal and Sunita join them to break into song, which goes, Jai Jai Shiv Shankar, Kata lage na kankar, ki pyala tere naam ka piya. Victory to Shiva, let neither thorn nor rock befall us, for I drink this goblet in your name. In the name of love or in the name of God? Either way, it does not take much imagination to guess that the goblet was most likely filled with bhang. Bhang is a paste obtained from grinding the leaves and stems of cannabis, an indigenous plant that grows abundantly across the Indian landmass. In many places, bhang is usually enjoyed after dissolving it in a refreshing beverage like lassi or thandai, or it is added to sweets such as laddu and halwa. Cannabis: cultivation, consumption, and culture. In 2020, former Narcotics Commissioner Romesh Bhattacharjee estimated that cannabis, also known as hemp, is cultivated in nearly 60% of the country's districts. Despite its ready availability, however, many parts of the plant remain illegal for consumption, trade, and cultivation, including the fruiting tops that are consumed, often by smoking, in the forms of ganja, that is marijuana or weed, or charas, that is hashish. It would be a little over a decade after Aapki Kasam that the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances (NDPS) Act would formally recognize cannabis, among other narcotics such as heroin, cocaine, and LSD, and brand it as illicit. But bhang, which includes the plant's legal components, falls outside the purview of the Act, and states have since been allowed to make their own rulings on it under national guidance. Cannabis is the second most consumed controlled substance in the country, after alcohol. A 2019 survey published by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment concluded that about 2.8% of all citizens reported having used cannabis in the previous 12 months, the majority of whom had consumed it in the form of bhang. Cannabis is rich in tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, which is the plant's principal psychoactive compound. In its chemical structure, THC is similar to anandamide, ANA, a fatty acid neurotransmitter found in the human brain, which is part of our endocannabinoid system. Named after the Sanskrit word ananda, meaning joy or bliss, anandamide regulates many physiological and cognitive processes in the body, including appetite, mood, pain sensation, and memory. It also provides us with the high of good feeling, the ecstasy of a long run, the bliss of sex. Bhang, a serving of spiritual bliss. A little serving of bhang then can provide a shortcut to that bliss, as the THC binds with our system in the guise of ANA. For a more accurate representation, a little more time should have passed after Kamal and Sunita's first sip of the prasad, half an hour or an hour, before their perception of the world shifted markedly. Their senses would be heightened, dilated. They would see a full palette of the greens on the hillside, lose themselves in the tiniest iterations of passing time between seconds, and hear each declaration of Shiva Shankar echo in the chambers of their mind. Bhang holds special significance with the mythology of Shiva, the supreme lord of the Hindu trinity, who is the protector and transformer. In the grand story of Samudra Manthan, or churning of the cosmic ocean, the warring devas and asuras discover Amrita, a mythological elixir of immortality. But this discovery also leads to the emission of halahala, a lethal poison. Shiva heroically swallows the halahala to save the gods, but the poison is so potent that it turns his neck blue, thus earning him the moniker Neelkant, or the blue-throated one. Legend has it that to cool his throat burning with the venom, Shiva turned to bhang for some respite. He has since been associated with the blissful and sometimes meditative highs of the substance. In another legend, while wandering in a field alone, Shiva falls asleep under the hot sun and awakes under a cannabis plant. He consumes some cannabis and finds an instant shortcut to bliss. Thousands of years after this tale, Shaivites and many others still evoke the Supreme Lord before inhaling a puff of cannabis from their chillam or pipe, saying Bam Bhole or Har Har Mahadev. In his Note on the Religion of Hemp, as part of the report of the 1893-94 Indian Hemp Drugs Commission, James M. Campbell, Collector of Land Revenue and Customs and Opium, Bombay, wrote, quote, "The Hindu poet of Shiva, the great spirit that living in bhang passes into the drinker, sings of bhang as the clearer of ignorance, the giver of knowledge. No gem or jewel can touch in value bhang taken truly and reverently. He who drinks bhang drinks Shiva. The mere sight of bhang cleanses from as much sin as 1,000 horse sacrifice or 1,000 pilgrimages." End quote. Holy revelry. The linkage with bhang extends far beyond Shiva and Shivratri. On Holi, along with the usual celebration of spring, colours, worship, family, song and dance, it is common for a bhang-laced preparation to be consumed by holy revelers across social strata, rich and poor, men and women, young and old. In some temples dedicated to Shiva and Vishnu and their avatars, devotees are known to present bhang as an offering. Shiv Bhakts in Ramdevra in Rajasthan assemble every year to take part in a bhang drinking competition. During the Sikh festival of Hola Mohalla, some members of the warrior Nihang sect consume a bhang-inspired tipple called Shahidi Deg, which is a traditional drink made of almonds, black pepper, sugar, water, rose petals, cardamoms, and cannabis. In the unique holy festivities in Barsana in Uttar Pradesh, devotees don the guises of Krishna and Radha for a celebration of colours, dancing, and bhang. The consumption of bhang, ganja, and charas is inexorably linked to the Kumbh Mela too. The Kumbh is held every 12 years, rotating between 4 pilgrimage cities, and last attracted over 90 lakh visitors to Haridwar in 2021. Among the many devotees of Shiva, Vishnu and other deities, cannabis use is common at this grand festival. Spirituality and romance. In Aapki Kasam, the playful romance between Kamal and Sunita is not quite unlike the innocent frolicking often associated with the representations of Radha and Krishna. As the song progresses, the characters express appropriate responses to the bhang experience. Kandhe pe sar rakke tum mujhko sone do, sings Sunita, to which Kamal responds, Masti mein jo chahe ho jaye hone do. She says she wants to go to sleep, and he replies that they should do whatever they wish in the enjoyable flow of the moment. They are stoned, that popular expression for a feeling of being a little disconnected from reality. a little lost in sensory bliss. Jai Jai Shiv Shankar continues to enjoy unabated popularity decades after its release as a song that finds itself in the comfortable confluence of both spirituality and romance. In 2019, the song was remixed and updated for a new generation for the film War. Sung by Vishal Dadlani and Benny Dayal, the remix was repackaged as a Holi song, featuring the actors Tiger Shroff and Hrithik Roshan in the throes of a highly acrobatic dance-off. This time, Jai Jai Shiv Shankar was followed by Aaj Mood Hai Bhayankar. The mood is dangerous today. With a zara zara nasha, little bit of intoxication, the men implore each other and the rest of the shindig to jitni bhi hai sharam dil se nikal de. Free the hearts of all shame. If there was any subtlety left, it was soon shed, with the lines, ho do round laga ke, 100 pound uda ke, o vilayati bhang chadha ke, nachenge hero bankar. Let's have a few more rounds, let's waste a few £100, let's drink some foreign bhang, we'll dance like heroes. Why waste money on foreign bhang when India has many millennia of expertise of local preparation? But I digress. Cannabis and song and dance. Holi is often a good excuse to let inhibitions go, to allow for fun and frolic that may otherwise be frowned upon in conservative communities. In the song Rang Barse from Yash Chopra's Silsila, 1981, a traditional bhajan is reimagined as an upbeat folk song after a little shot of bhang by Amitabh Bachchan's character. In the 1985 superhero film Shiva Ka Insaf, Jackie Shroff is Bhola, alter ego Shiva, of course, in the Cannabis blended song Bhang Jamaye Rang Zara Se, another R.D. Burman creation. In 1997's Koila, Madhuri Dixit appears in the song Bhang Ke Nashe Mein Kho Gaye Hum. I am lost in the intoxication of bhang, while dancing on a hillside around a dozen children. In the first half of Ayan Mukherjee's Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, 2013, the characters depicted by Deepika Padukone, Ranbir Kapoor and others take a life-affirming hiking trip to Parvati Valley, a lush region in the Himalaya range of Himachal Pradesh known as the country's Apple Belt, which is also the source of some of the world's most famous charas. For much of this trip, Padukone's character, Naina, is portrayed as a stereotypically conservative and shy young woman. But she finds romance in her travels and is allowed to let go fully of her inhibitions in the Holi-themed track Ballam Pichakari. She is now sexualized, glasses off, hair down, hips gyrating, carefree in the intoxicating blend of love and bhang. Sung by Shalmali Kholgade, and now by me, the first verse goes, Itna maza kyun aa raha hai, तूने हवा में भांग मिलाया, दुगना नशा क्यों हो रहा है, आंखों से मीठा तूने खिलाया. Why am I having so much fun? Have you mixed bhang in the air? Why am I twice as intoxicated? Did you feed me sweets with your eyes? There's a clear connecting thread that ties cannabis with both religious festivity and freedom of mind. An unlocking of one's inhibitions that could be as much a spiritual experience as it is a romantic one. Dam Maro Dam. Arguably, the country's most famous cannabis anthem is Dam Maro Dam, another R.D. Burman composition from Dev Anand's 1971 directorial debut, Hare Rama Hare Krishna. The film is a sort of anti-drug morality tale produced during the height of the Western counterculture hippie movement that emerged in the 1960s in the form of anti-war crusades, free love, psychedelic music and media, and rising interest in Eastern spirituality and philosophies. The use of psychedelic and psychotropic drugs tucked in neatly within this cultural niche as part of a larger rebellion against authority. In the movie, Dev Anand stars as Prashant, a man who goes to Kathmandu in search of his sister Jasbir, or Janice, played by the 19-year-old Zeenat Aman. Zeenat Aman's breakthrough role of a wayward, weed-smoking, broken-hearted hippie won her the Filmfare Best Supporting Actress Award that year, a performance that was memorialized by Dam Maro Dam. Here, Janice sings and gently sways, backing vocals by Asha Bhosle and lyrics by Anand Bakshi, in the middle of a crowded, multicultural Epicurean gathering, where men and women smoke and pass chillums among each other, play music, smoke, drink, kiss, party. It is hedonism at its very best. R.D. Burman's composition here, disco, soul, rock and roll, is rooted deep in the psychedelic themes of its time. Each dum uttered is an evocation to a breath, the strength to live, or to a dum from the chillam, a deep puff inwards of the charas smoke, a common phrase uttered by cannabis smokers. Bakshi's lyrics make no secret of the ties between the THC high and the high of devotion, as the chorus goes, Dam maro dam, mit jaye gham, bolo subha sham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Take a puff, erase your sorrows, say it day and night, praise to Krishna, praise to Ram. Unlike the happier response to bhang as experienced by Kamal and Sunita in Jai Jai Shiv Shankar, the world of Dam Maro Dam is far more nihilistic, highlighted particularly by the song's haunting rhetorical questions. Duniya ne humko diya kya? Duniya se humne liya kya? Hum sab ki parwah kare kyun? Sabne hamara kiya kya? What did the world ever give to us? What did we ever take from the world? Why should we worry about anyone? What has anyone ever done for us? Zeenat Aman recollects. In an Instagram post in September, Zeenat Aman shared the fascinating backstory of the song. The hippie extras featured in the song were invited by Devanand to pack their chillams with hashish in beautiful Nepal, along with a bonus of payment, food, and the opportunity to be in a Bollywood film. She added, quote, Dev Saab wanted authenticity in this sequence. My character, the drug-addled Janice, had to really look stoned, and the easiest way to achieve this was to partake in the hippie offerings. So there I was, still in my teens, gamely taking long pulls from their chillam, take after take. By the time we wrapped the day's work, I was high as a kite. I was in no state to return to the hotel in that happy, dizzy, and slightly gomless haze. So some of the team members packed me into a car and took me on a drive to a beautiful vantage point. There in the cold mountain air, I contemplated the Himalayas and slowly, peacefully, came down from my high. End quote. The hippie offerings, it can be safely assumed, were most likely charas, a blissful dum of hashish similarly enjoyed by Shiv Bhakts around the country. Zeenat Aman's memories from half a century ago point to a less complicated time in our pop culture, where God and love cuddled up in the same intoxicating cocktail. But despite this welcoming embrace of bhang, components of the same cannabis plant are illegal for recreational use in the country. And for every iconic moment on screen memorialized in trippy Holi and Shivratri celebrations, there is a darker side of the story, where no one in the country, from farmers to film stars, is safe from the court of public judgment and the ruthless hand of the law. Aryan Khan and the law. On October 3, 2021, the Narcotics Control Bureau, NCB, announced the arrest of Aryan Khan, the 23-year-old son of Shah Rukh Khan, one of Bollywood's biggest stars. Aryan was among those who were part of a high-profile rave party aboard a cruise ship off the coast of Mumbai, nabbed by NCB officers who had boarded the ship and discovered drugs, including charas. No drugs were recovered on Aryan, yet he was picked up and slapped with charges under the NDPS Act. Denied bail, he spent several weeks in judicial custody. The NCB's case rested upon the drugs recovered from Aryan's friend Arbaz Merchant, a total of 6 grams of charas, probably worth just a few chillams worth of dums puffed at a film set, hardly worth more than a few thousand rupees. But owing to the high profile of the accused, the case was sensationalized by the news media. Aryan and the others were portrayed as symbols of a depraved society, floating dangerously away from the so-called conservative culture or sanskar of the country, and as nepo babies who would finally taste justice suffered by the common man. Aryan Khan was finally granted bail by the end of October that year. The following year, the NCB dropped charges against him and against the 5 other suspects, pointing to a lack of sufficient evidence in the original probe. But the damage to the Khan's reputation was already done, and the authorities were able to flaunt that no amount of social or financial clout was above their jurisdiction. Aryan Khan's arrest was only the star-studded tip of the iceberg of a larger pan-Indian war against the illicit cannabis trade, where the most penalized offenders have often been small-time users, farmers, or middlemen. Mumbai and cannabis. In Mumbai, which has the highest number of NDPS cases, most of the individuals arrested are consumers of cannabis. A 2020 study in Mumbai by the Vidhi Centre for Legal Policy concluded that, quote, nearly every person arrested and convicted for cannabis consumption in the city was a daily wage worker and a slum or street dweller. These drug offenders are sentenced to minor imprisonment and/or fines ranging from 100 to 8,000 rupees. This demonstrates how the law, though meant to be applied uniformly across social and economic strata, disproportionately targets the poor and further marginalizes the already vulnerable. End quote. According to reports from various drug law enforcement agencies, over 4.7 lakh individuals were arrested under the NDPS Act from 2018 to 2023. One can safely assume that most of those penalized for cannabis likely dealt with the plant in its ganja or charas form. Bhang, of course, is an exception. No doubt, being Lord Shiva's favourite allows it some special advantages. There are other sources in ancient Indian scripture that exalt Bhang's resourceful properties. The most popular of these is credited to the Atharva Veda, likely compiled around 1200 to 1000 BCE and which forms the basis of much of the Ayurvedic system of medicine. It states, quote, to the 5 kingdoms of the plants which Soma rules as Lord we speak, Darbha, hemp, bhang, barley, mighty power, may these deliver us from woe. End quote. Translation by Ralph T.H. Griffith. The text refers to the mythical healing and perhaps intoxicating drink Soma, which is another definition of Amrita, the elixir of immortality. An ancient tradition. It is no surprise that ancient Indians aligned so closely with the cannabis plant. It was one of the earliest crops to be cultivated by humans with the advent of agriculture some 12,000 years ago. Historians have found that the Aryans introduced its consumption to the Indian subcontinent between 2000 and 1000 BCE. In much of Hindu mythology, forms of the cannabis plant, bhang and others, are also referred to as Vijaya, meaning victory or triumph. Across Indian history, cannabis formulations have been recommended by Ayurvedic practices for their medicinal properties, including in the 8th century Sanskrit medical text Sushruta Samhita for conditions such as fever, diarrhea, menstrual pain, anemia, epilepsy, and nerve disease. In 1839, the Irish physician William Brooke O'Shaughnessy presented an influential paper titled On the Preparations of Indian Hemp or Ganja, Cannabis Indica. After years of clinical trials in the Bengal area, O'Shaughnessy claimed that in hemp, his profession had, quote, gained an anti-convulsive remedy of the highest value. End quote. By the end of the century, the British government's Indian Hemp Drugs Commission, in a wide-ranging study that included O'Shaughnessy's work as well as religious use of cannabis among Hindu users, concluded that the moderate use of hemp drugs is practically attended by no evil results at all. 20th century taboos. In the 20th century, however, led primarily by the derision of lawmakers in the US, marijuana was villainized and presented as a taboo substance, and its no-evil reputation was shed to prop it up instead as an antisocial drug. American propaganda films such as Reefer Madness, released 1936, further maligned this plant. The US's Marijuana Tax Act of 1937 officially classified marijuana or cannabis as a Schedule I drug, beginning a period of federal prohibition that continues to this day. More nations followed the US lead in banning or controlling the crop, including India, where the NDPS Act was formally passed in Parliament in 1985. In the past few decades, ironically, it has been the US that has led in cannabis research, decriminalization, and legalization. Scientists, doctors, and activists in the US and elsewhere have discovered the many medicinal properties of cannabis for everything from chronic pain, epilepsy, neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's disease, to nausea, managing the side effects of cancer-related chemotherapies, and much more. modern change of heart. Around 50 nations around the world have legalized medicinal cannabis, while others like Uruguay, Canada, Germany, and some states in the US have decriminalized the use of cannabis for recreational purposes to various degrees. Meanwhile, reports said that the industrial hemp segment worldwide is expected to reach a projected revenue of $16,754.8 million, close to 1.4 lakh crore rupees by 2030. It is the THC component of cannabis that is often prescribed for severe medical conditions or used for the recreational purposes of getting high. However, a less intoxicating compound in the plant called cannabidiol, CBD or cannabidiol, has found more widespread acceptance as an essential component for medical purposes. CBD does not cause the high of cannabis by itself, but has proven to be a useful compound for medicines that tackle anxiety, insomnia, chronic pain, and more. CBD is permitted in India, and in recent years there has been a major spike in medical startups investing in this space, with products that include massage ointments, lip balms, energy drinks, seed oils, and even anti-anxiety medicine for pets. With growing awareness of CBD as a separate entity from THC, some market research reports have predicted that the industry in India would grow close to 2,500 crore rupees over the next 5 years. The tragic case of Sushant Singh Rajput. In fact, the biggest spike in the interest in CBD actually arose from a tragedy. In June 2020, 34-year-old rising Bollywood film star Sushant Singh Rajput was found dead by suicide at his home in Mumbai. Various reports went on to show that Rajput showed signs of clinical depression and bipolar disorder in the months leading up to his death. Authorities discovered that a few individuals in Rajput's orbit, including his talent manager and his girlfriend, helped him get access to CBD oil to deal with this condition. A maelstrom followed, as his girlfriend and others in the entertainment industry were hounded by an overzealous media and by Rajput's fans for allegedly abetting his suicide. In the feverish witch hunt, little room was left for the distinction between the legalities of the various chemical products possible from cannabis. Rajput's alleged cannabis use, in CBD form or as ganja, charas, were labelled as the cause of his problems and not, perhaps, as an assistive balm to his pains. However, despite the largely negative coverage of the incident and its aftermath, the next few months, quote, clocked the highest sales for the industry in some manner because a lot of people started talking about CBD, unquote, according to Dilzad Deolaliwala, chairperson of the Pan-India Medical Cannabis and Hemp Association. The NCB charged Rajput's girlfriend, the actor Riya Chakraborty, for receiving and delivering marijuana to him, and later arrested her on the charge of abetment of suicide. What followed was a trial by media, as most national news channels sensationalized the story to unbelievable levels. Nation of contradictions. What does one make of these contradictions? India has always been a nation of grand paradoxes, where erotic sculptures are carved into temple walls, while young couples are harassed for holding hands in a park. Where vegetarianism and the love of the bovine are loudly preached, even as the majority of the population are meat eaters and the nation is one of the world's largest exporters of beef. Where the garb of spirituality can make all the difference between cannabis seen as an offering to the gods or a dark, sensational crime. In recent years, some states like Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh have proposed and enacted liberalized laws for the controlled farming of hemp, taking the initial steps towards legalizing the use of this indigenous crop for profit. However, these are still minuscule efforts, and many activists and advocates around the country are hoping for more such laws and decriminalization so that the plant may be used for industrial, scientific, medicinal, and some recreational purposes. This approach would enable enforcement agencies like the NCB and the Border Security Force and state excise departments to concentrate their efforts on tackling larger challenges, such as dismantling synthetic drug smuggling networks and addressing violent crimes. Irrespective of how it is perceived and its legal status, cannabis is so ubiquitous in the country that it simply cannot be ignored. For thousands of years, the plant has thrived naturally across much of the subcontinent, deeply intertwined with human communities and traditions. It has been used in various forms as an Ayurvedic medicinal tonic, hemp for clothing and livestock care, a source of nutritious seeds, an offering in religious rituals, bhang for festive thandai, or as a flower smoked for recreational purposes. Also, it has been the inspiration for a lush garden of music and cinema. A number of films have attempted to tackle the marijuana question over the past few decades, usually to inconsistent results. Cannabis appears in a kaleidoscope of adventurous roles, as intoxicant, healer, sacred offering, and more. Just like many other nations in the world, what we need, perhaps, is a reconsideration of the taboos associated with the plant, to reconcile its many contradictions, and to understand the plant as one of India's indigenous cultural gifts to the world. Jai Jai Shiv Shankar concludes with a happy crescendo. For Kamal and Sunita, the high eventually tapers off, leaving them behind in a world slowly shuffling towards its structure again. कुछ भी हो लेकिन मजा आ गया मेरी जान. Kamal sings at the end, "Come what may, but we had great fun, my love." State-wise regulations on hemp cultivation. The hemp industry in India is largely governed at the state level, with different states adopting varied regulations regarding cultivation and processing. Here is an overview of hemp's legal status across a few states. Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand was the first state to legalize the cultivation of hemp for industrial purposes in 2018. Farmers are allowed to grow hemp plants containing less than 0.3% THC, and the state government has encouraged the cultivation of hemp seeds for textile and industrial use. Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh has also moved towards allowing controlled cultivation of hemp for industrial use, focusing primarily on its textile applications. As the state develops its regulations, the hemp industry here shows significant promise. Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh has announced plans to allow regulated hemp cultivation as a way to boost economic development. This has created excitement among farmers and businesses looking to tap into the industrial hemp market. Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir has historically used hemp in traditional clothing and other products. The government is exploring the possibility of reintroducing hemp cultivation for industrial and medicinal purposes. These state-level developments mark significant progress, but restrictions remain, and approvals are often required to cultivate and process hemp legally. Cannabis in cinema. Aapki Kasam, 1974. For many people, such wackiness is often the most apt expression of the cannabis experience. After all, the THC in cannabis serves as a substitute for the joy-filled ananda of our neurotransmitter, anandamide. It leads to the boisterous dance of bhang-drunk neighbors celebrating Holi, the camaraderie of friends over an unlikely adventure, or the giddy laughter of Kamal and Sunita in Aapki Kasam right before they burst into Jai Jai Shiv Shankar. Charas, 1976. The Ramanand Sagar film Charas, starring Dharmendra and Hema Malini, a James Bond-inspired entertainer set in the backdrop of an international drug trade, featuring the Asha Bhosle song Charas Charas, where the drug is also a euphemism for erotic delights. Charas, 2004. Tigmanshu Dhulia directed another film titled Charas, with this one taking a closer look at the actual drug trade in Parvati Valley. It starred Irfan Khan, Jimmy Shergill and Uday Chopra in a world of stoned backpackers, rave parties and dangerous gunfights. Idukki Gold, 2013. Kerala's Cardamom Hills or Yalamala were once infamous as being a rich source for Idukki Gold, a powerful strain of cannabis named after the eponymous district. It is this strain that also inspired Ashik Abu's Malayalam buddy comedy, Idukki Gold, about a group of older men who seek nostalgia and rekindle their friendship over memories of their stoner days. It was among a series of gentler portrayals of the substance, of the possibility of comedy and bliss that is often discovered by any circle of friends stoning together. M. Cream, 2013. In Agneya Singh's adventure film M. Cream, a coming-of-age journey takes a group of young adults from Delhi on a road trip to find the fictional village of Mababajagal, based on Malana in Parvati Valley, where they contemplate philosophy and politics, humor and love, all while tripping in the mountains. Go Goa Gone, 2013. And then there's Raj and TK's stoner comedy Go Goa Gone, a true anomaly among the formulaic Indian films. Inspired by the great tradition of Hollywood stoner classics like Pineapple Express, Dude Where's My Car, and Harold and Kumar series, Go Goa Gone opens with two slacker friends, played by Kunal Khemu and Veer Das, smoking a joint on a sofa in their apartment, watching TV, too lazy to reach for the remote and change the channel. Soon, change is thrust upon them, leading them on a trip to Goa, where they come across beautiful women, Russian gangsters, zombies, yes, zombies, and Saif Ali Khan as the zombie hunter, Boris. The Blueberry Hunt, 2016. In the Canadian-Indian production The Blueberry Hunt, Nasiruddin Shah plays the role of a colonel hell-bent on protecting his forest estate in Kerala and the potent blueberry strain of weed before harvest. Simba, 2019. In the more surreal Tamil trippy comedy Simba, the loner, weed-smoking protagonist Mahesh, played by Bharat Srinivasan, finds friendship in Simba, a Great Dane who takes on human form whenever Mahesh gets high. Marijuana, 2020. In the Tamil action thriller Marijuana, cannabis is portrayed as absolute societal filth, responsible for corrupting young college students and leading the self-destructive antagonist to a wild murder spree.
Karan Madhok is the author of Ananda, an exploration of cannabis in India, and the novel A Beautiful Decay.
This is Frontline on Air. Major stories on the go.